We're live now.
We're live. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the very first episode of the Elkins Accounting Hour, and I am joined by Atham over here. There's someone on the other side of me. I don't really know who he is.
I can't do this for a while because these are such itchy and uncomfortable. They're right under your nose.
You're not Mexican enough.
You know what? No, you're right. I'm not. Yeah, I'll just let you have it. Yeah, yes.
All right, good. Off to a great start. So yes, I'm joined by Clarey and Atham. Now, when I originally put this time, I did not think that I was actually going to be with these two dudes because we were originally we weren't going to see each other for a while. But then, you know what? Atham was just like, hey, I'm going to come out this next week. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to come out too.
I was shocked. I think everyone was shocked that you decided to go someplace 48 hours before you went there. Like you didn't analyze it. Like you actually showed up.
Well, it took a little bit of strong arming. I had to make him feel bad a little bit, and then he decided to come here. So that was nice.
That took 5 minutes of convincing me, and then I'm like, all right, flights are expensive, fares are an all-time high, but how often do we get to hang out? So,
out of curiosity, I mean, like, are you trying to make a change now that you have been self-employed for long enough? You can kind of like realize, and you don't have kids, and you have no expenses. Like, you this stuff called money.
Yes.
You can use it. Are you opening your eyes to that?
Yes, very much so. And as you pointed out when you were telling me this in the chat, you're like, you know what? How often do we get to hang out?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I don't care what it costs. I'm not going to drive, 20 hours, but I'll do a last minute ticket. And it worked out perfectly. So, but yeah, thanks for coming here, you guys. So we had a great day. We've actually had a good last couple days. What I thought I would do first was just kind of bitch about how my tax season went because I've kind of been waiting to do that.
I've been waiting to hear this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this will be cathartic for me. And then we can get into more fun stuff like what we've been up to here, maybe answer some questions.
When do we get to the story about how I was recognized in public in front of you guys? When do you get to that story?
Next episode.
Soon. Soon. The answer to every question is soon. So, but yeah, we do have a story for you. Clarey's ego grew about 3 sizes larger about 3.5 hours
I got
ago.
to Rob's height. I was like 5'8" today. That's
Yes.
how tall I got.
All right, so you guys, I had the single shittiest tax season I have ever had, and I swear after every year I probably say that. This time I mean it. There's never going to be a worse one ever. 1, because I'm going to make sure it never happens. And 2, because there were a unique set of circumstances that absolutely made this one suck donkey dick. So,
are we going to go over those unique set of circumstances?
Yes.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm not going to name any names, but I am going to talk about some things that went wrong. Well, there's a lot that went right, but there's plenty that went wrong. And I was left holding the bag. And let's just say that it wasn't pretty. And I've had a very, very good last 4 weeks of doing absolutely no tax work, no accounting work. Well, I did a little work this morning. That was more for Clarey's entertainment. So, yeah. Okay. So first things first. I probably had talked about this in some of the streams I did with Clarey. I'm not sure, but I was supposed to have somebody helping me. I was supposed to have a helper. I've always had too many clients, despite every year, I get rid of some, I refer some out, and then I take on some higher fees. This particular tax season, I was supposed to have somebody help me. So I'm protecting his identity, but I went ahead and I trained him for about 15 to 17 hours, over multiple days. I showed him how to do the taxes.
Wait, how many?
15 to 17 hours.
A day?
No. Just
cumulatively.
Cumulatively. Yeah. No, I'd be even more pissed if. Yeah, but I mean, there was plenty of free training that this dude got. And so this was in December. So, that's when you make the cuts. If you're gonna send a client away, you do it before the year. So I'm like, you know what? I've got this person helping me. He's enthusiastic. He begged me for it, by the way. I do want to say that.
He did, yes.
He begged it. This is sort of a mutual friend that some of us know. But anyway.
I'm going to kick his ass when I see him.
You and our mutual friend are just about...
No. I mean, if we see you, dude, don't go away. Just please go away from me. I will.
You know why it didn't work, though?
Huh?
But you know why it didn't work, though?
Because he's lazy?
No, because the training wasn't free.
That's you know what? If I had put some, if he had some skin in the game, like
Dude, yeah.
yeah, I should have made him either pay me or at least pay for the software I showed him how to use. So, in any case, so that was December. We get to January, you know, I'm feeling optimistic because I've got someone who's familiar with the work. I've trained them. He knows how to use the software. We have our process set. You know, we can all work remotely. And then guess what? Crickets.
When did he like, was he supposed to call you like late January or something?
Yes.
Okay, and then like you put a call in and he never called back.
It's actually worse than that because now I want to stress this dude was begging me for this because he wanted to leave his corporate job and he's like, hey, you know, you got your own business. I really want to start my own firm, and you know, you can show me how to do this. And so I'm like, you know what, this is going to be a win-win. No, we get to January and I'm like, okay, so and so, you ready to get started? You know, let's do this like we trained. Crickets. So I'm like, okay.
By the way, if you start your own firm, buddy, I will come down on you like a ton of bricks. And with my presence on the internet, you will have no clients. So that option is now off the table for you, buddy.
Yes.
It is off the table.
Yes. Now, trust me, there's a lot more. I want to out him. I'm not going to out him. I'm just not that kind of guy. But believe me, I want to. So we get to the first week of February, and this is when everything starts to come in. You know, people are like, hey, you know, here's my stuff. I haven't heard from him yet. So, you know, I text him and I get, oh yeah, you know, I got COVID, but all is well. You know, I just had to take last week off. So I'm like, okay, so, you know, we're on target. We're on schedule. Okay, so we get to Valentine's Day when, you know, we're mid-February. We're ass deep in it at this point. You know, I'm barely holding things together because I'm like, okay, I'm going to get some relief. You know, he'll be back with me. What does he do?
Crickets?
Ghosts me. He just ghosted me. I want to stress that, you guys, this was supposed to be one of us. Like, he was somebody who was sort of vetted, and, you know, I trusted him in many different ways.
Well, there were two things he had going. He's not a leftist, right? We had this conversation before about like our team.
Yeah.
Just because there's an R or L for libertarian, not loser, but often conflated. Like there are so many losers on our team that you can't trust people politically. And then the other one is he's a CPA.
Yes.
That's what, yeah.
Now, I want to stress, like, he's a CPA, but he had never worked in tax before. So I did have to train him, like, almost from the ground up, because he was just in a totally different area of accounting, more sales than anything, but, you know. So, you know, I really thought it was going to work out, but we got to February. It was actually, I was hanging out with you in person at one point, because, you know, we were in the same place about mid-February. And that was when I realized, I think I'm in a really bad situation here, because the guy just totally ghosted me. Like, I didn't hear from him, and that was it. I'm tempted. I know why he ghosted me. He decided to pursue something different. I'm not going to say what it was. I really want to, but I'm not.
It is a frivolous pursuit. It is an egotistical pursuit.
Yes.
He will fail.
He will fail miserably.
He will fail. And what's great, he's going to come groveling back.
Yes. So that was pretty much, now in my world, when you have corporate taxes, the ones that I do, they're mostly due March 15th. So that was fine. Like, that was always going to be just me. This person was supposed to help with the regular 1040s. That
you commoners.
You commoners that aren't part of, well, none of you, 1099 master race and all that. But so he was supposed to help me mainly from about, you know, early mid-March all the way to the April deadline, because they weren't going to extend it this year like they had for the past couple of years. So we get to March. I'm stressed. I'm just like, I'm losing it. I've been ghosted. I managed to like put everybody off. I explained to them the situation. I did. I don't know if you knew this.
Well, because I was thinking you weren't even, when you could have been working on personal taxes.
Yes.
You weren't, because you were assuming this was going to be taken care of. So you pushed that to the last month and a half.
Yes. Yes. So needless to say, from about March 10th all the way through the April 18th deadline, like, my life was just absolute hell. We're talking like 16-hour work days at one point. I mean, I was also traveling a bunch, which, you know, I won't talk about that today, but I'll talk about it at some point. I was doing a ton of traveling just because it was important to me. And just, you know, lesson learned would have to be like, don't rely just because somebody, you know, has similar politics to you. Maybe you like having a beer with them because that's what, you know, he and I used to do. Maybe you root for the same sports ball teams. That maybe they're a CPA. I'll say it. Maybe they're a CPA.
Maybe they're a CPA. Yeah.
That does not mean that they're going to be a good employee, an honorable employee. So it was just an absolutely atrocious first part of this year. Like I mean, you probably heard me bitch and moan about this. It was more.
No, that's the problem. You were so busy, you didn't even have time to bitch and moan.
Yeah.
And normally I look forward to tax season not to do my taxes.
Yeah.
But to see you suffer.
Yes,
hear your
exactly.
pain. But I didn't get that.
Oh, you
because
hear
you
all
were
the funny stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so normally, and I mean, I may save these for some other episodes. I do have some like funny stories. I have some stupid questions, you know, all kinds of fun stuff. But I thought I would lead off with just telling you how terrible my 2022 was, at least professionally, up until it all finally fucking ended. So,
is that are they having problems with CPAs just being professional? Because this guy is not exactly 25 years old and young, but like, is there not a credibility, but a professional crisis of accountants not showing up on time?
It actually gets deeper than that. There is actually, you've probably heard me talk about this. There is a shortage of CPAs now, because at least in the field of tax, well, this goes a few different ways, and I won't go into too much detail. It's probably not that exciting. But what's happened was all the boomers, with all these COVID changes and taxes, it made like personal taxes a lot more difficult and detailed, with the stimuluses and advanced child tax payments, you know, all that stuff. So a lot of the boomer, you know, old fogey CPAs, when everything turned virtual because of COVID, they all just retired. They cashed out because they're just like, you know, we're not going to change our entire process just because people won't come in person. So they all retired. Apparently, there's been like a shortage of people majoring in accounting and becoming CPAs. So from both sides, there's like a shortage of accountants who want to do this shit. So that's why, to answer your question, yes, you're getting people who think they want to do this, and you'll show them how to do it. They realize it's actually work, and it's not always that fun. And what do? They ghost to pursue something totally different.
That's why I was kind of confused, because a CPA, getting it is no joke. You put all that time and effort into it, right? And then, and that's why I'm wondering, is just like the trades are no joke, but the quality of tradesmen today is utter crap. Like, do we get to expect utter crap CPAs and accountants in the future?
My hope is not, but unfortunately, I think this could happen. Only because you're going to get a lot more people that. I think there's going to be like fewer CPAs, but there's going to be perhaps more accountants. Okay. So you know how they're not like exactly the same thing. So you're going to get people that majored in accounting. I don't know if you guys know this, but to prepare tax returns, you don't actually have to be a CPA or an EA, which is an enrolled agent. You can just be any guy off the street.
Can you be a Mexican?
Yes, you can.
Wow, can even though that's a very low bar. Yeah, very low bar.
You can be a Mexican. You can be an asshole. I mean, there's so many different
anyone
ways.
can do it.
Yeah, all you have to do is get something called a PTIN. You know, you get that with the IRS. Like, you don't have to take a test. You don't have to like do anything. The IRS just says, okay, you have a PTIN, you can do tax returns. So what I'm cautioning you guys is that now that, you know, there's a shortage of actual CPAs that will do your taxes, you're going to have to go to places like H&R Block, you know, Jackson Hewitt, and they're nabbing people off the street. They can't find CPAs either because they don't pay anything.
Would a PTIN pay as much? Like if I take a test or whatever, I get my PTIN.
Well, a PTIN, it's not a designation. It's literally just, it's a number. And in order to get a number, you just apply for it.
So if I did that and I'm an accountant, or at least competent enough to do personal taxes, I can make money?
Sure. That doesn't mean that you know what you're doing.
No, I know, but I would know what I'm doing, like a basic 1040 W-2 form, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this could this be something that like an entry-level accountant graduates from college?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And that's kind of where I was sort of going with this. I was like, and that's not to say that like everybody who's not a CPA or DA is stupid. That's not the case at all. I'm just saying, when you have a shortage of people with experience and have like gotten the credentials and everything, like, you're at risk, because there's people that think they know how to do everything because they've used TurboTax a few times. Then you've got people like my buddy, who I actually showed him, you know, I spent several hours and he was a little bit slow to pick it up, but we finally kind of got him there. and then he just goes someplace else and just forgets it. So I would caution you guys, if you are going to like pay for tax preparation services, you really need to vet who you're going to get, because there's a much smaller talent pool at this point.
What would be like, do you want the old Vietnam veteran boomer?
No.
What do you want? Like what, because you would, if you looked at this guy, you would think, oh, clean cut professional. And I would have thought, oh, CPA, he's professionally would have, but I mean, what are we looking for? Like years experience or what?
Years experience, you know, if you're not sure. Honestly, the first thing you should look for is a CPA or an EA. An EA, that's an enrolled agent. That's where you just have to take a few exams administered by the IRS. It's relatively difficult. You have to study. So if you get a CPA or an EA, odds are the person knows what they're doing. So that's the first thing you need to look for. If the accountant doesn't have one of those certifications, then you need to find out what experience they do have. You know, maybe they worked for a corporate tax accountant. Maybe they supported them, didn't sign off on anything. But I mean, to answer your question, man, it's luck of the draw if they don't have one of those certifications.
Okay. And what my experience is just every profession is decaying in terms of professionalism. And so it's not like, I mean, CPAs are like almost like bordering doctors, you know, doctors, you know, Hippocratic oath, and you think, oh, CPA is nerdy, you can trust them. And now it's just like, no, apparently not. So,
no, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I still try to encourage people. I don't know if you guys know this. It is a pain in the ass to get a CPA. Okay. You have to get 4 years of undergrad, and now they've added an extra 30 credit hours. So a lot of people have to get masters. So you're looking at 5 years of schooling. You have to study, you shitload of studying, and you have to pay for those exams. It's not cheap when your employers don't cover it. So there's actually a question in there. I'll just read it. Someone's wondering, you know, if even going through all that trouble to get a CPA.
Let me pull it up.
Go ahead.
I'll be your assistant. I'll be your little bitch. All
Yeah.
right, which one is it?
Scroll up just a little bit. That one right there.
I'll be the Vanna White of the Elkins accounting.
So Tom Canuck says, would taking all the education to become a CPA be a decent path to a work visa to the USA from Canada? I want out of Canada for obvious reasons. I mean, that's a tough one. If you want to get to the US that badly, you'd be making a good case. It's just you'd have to learn all about the American taxation system. I mean, Canada has their own CPAs, but it's quite different up there. So if you are going to do that training education, you want to make sure, obviously, it's on the American side, because the way they do taxes up there is way different. I've even read up on
you just give it to them, don't you?
You just like, you know, money, you want free healthcare and, you know, bad military, here you go. So
what's this? Can I click on that one?
Yeah.
What is an ACCA?
I don't know. ACCA. Ahmad Junia, tell us in the chat. I haven't heard that before. I don't know what an ACCA.
I'm wondering if it's a foreign CPA version.
Like it must be, because I'm not sure what that is.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
I could scroll up. Were there any other ones you
want? I didn't see anything else, but we'll get some more ones here. And as you guys have noticed, you know, I'm new, so we can't do super chats, which is unfortunate, because I know Clarey.
You don't want to do I'm getting my money. Don't worry. The day is coming. The day is coming.
Hundreds of dollars right now.
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, yes. Everyone likes giving you more money than me, but the day is coming. But yeah, you'll want to. You don't want to like totally rely on super chats either.
Well, this is what you guys got to do. You got to get me up to 1,000, sort of like what Clarey did for DT, and then I'll get the requisite number of hours, and this is all. So Clarey can, from this point forward, get half of my. When I come in,
not, yes. Yeah, you're not like paying me 50%. Like, who was it? Was it Tommy Dorsey and Frank Sinatra? Was that the one where he had like Frank Sinatra had a crazy agreement with Tommy Dorsey? Like, just to get big, he promised he'd pay 50% of his money out to Tommy. Forever. Oh, wow. And then the mafia got in and said, "Yeah, you're going to end that contract, Tommy." But no, it's not that. It's not that kind of contract.
I just want to point out, Ahmed clarified. He said, "Yeah, the ACCA is apparently the chartered accountancy, but the UK version." Well, yeah, it sounds like you're going for it. I honestly know nothing about UK taxes except they're pretty high. But yeah, man, if you're into it. Well, back to what I was saying. I think it's worth it. I'm biased, obviously, but I think it's worth it if you want to start your own business. Because if your goals are just to get into public accounting, those days are over, because it's too political. You know, it's too hard to actually rise up in the ranks because the boomers aren't retiring from public accounting.
They aren't?
No, because they're partners now, so they don't have to do any work.
So wait, so they don't do no work, but they still mess up things and get the. I know it's their company technically, but then they get up people's asses and everything.
Once you get to the partner level, man, you're there just to sell. Like you make appearances, you go to banquets. They do some high level FaceTime. Yeah, at least in the tax area. I mean, it's different everywhere, but I guess my point is I think that it's so much harder to get on the partner track than it was like, say, 10 to 15 years ago.
What? But could a med just be a tax preparer and do an independent contractor thing like we do here in the States?
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was like, so it's worth, in my opinion, biased, I admit, it's worth going through that trouble if you want to do what I do, or if you want to start your own thing. Because if you like accounting, why would you want to do it for somebody else? Because now that we're location independent, and we are, like, I'm getting rid of my office at the end of next month. I no longer need it. I can work from anywhere. So, I mean, you've talked about location independence a lot.
Well, and one thing I can speak competently to Ahmed, since he's in the United Kingdom, is this is going way back. Before there was Andrew Henderson, there was me, and I had a file way back in the day with all the different tax havens and things like that. Because of the United Kingdom's empire days, they still have protectorates, emirates, and I want to call it property or territories, but agreements.
Yeah,
with places like Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, I believe Bermuda. There's other island where they're sovereign nations and they have no taxes.
Yeah. Right.
Now, of course, there's a problem. There's island life, which maybe Ahmed doesn't enjoy. Because I don't know if you've ever been to the Bahamas. You get bored of it after the third day. But he could have some pretty good accounting opportunities and live in a tropical island if he'd like. And do people's taxes from a beach, sipping a Mai Tai or whatever.
You can do that. Like, as stressed as I was, and I told you some of the story, I wasn't in Chicago for most of tax season. I was another place I wanted to be. That's a whole other story. But I mean, I can do my work from anywhere. So in that respect, I do think it's worth that track, getting those certifications. All I'm trying to do is temper people's expectations who think they're going to rise up in the ranks and become partners, at Big Four, or even non-Big Four, just public accounting in general. Those positions, they're harder to get now. And, so I don't know if I'd recommend that.
Out of curiosity, with the decaying quality and caliber of your average accounting graduate, I mean, the IRS is already having trouble finding enough people.
Yes.
As I imagine the state revenue agencies would be.
Yes.
What's going to happen to their efficacy? Like, am I going to have, Barney Fife of the IRS come in and like, James, you didn't do it. Like, and I bring you in, you're like a sling gun. And like, no, see, do we have to worry about, I guess I prefer a more incompetent IRS over a more competent one, but they got their own problems, don't they?
So once Brandon got into power, one of the things that his ilk passed was a sort of a fund the IRS thing. And it did pass. It was something like 83 million or something, which they do need it. But the thing is, they can't hire anybody because a lot of the people that, they're in this field, they're now realizing that they can just make more money and have an easier time doing what I do instead of working for the government, because the government is not necessarily going to let you work remote. You have to go through their training. And I don't know if you all know this, but government work does not pay as well as the private sector if you know what you're doing.
And then you also got to go to the,
yes.
I mean, you got to go audit places,
yes.
right? You're not sitting at home
correct.
With a bottle of whiskey under the table.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you actually have to go and do stuff.
I spent some of the early part of my career. So I'm embarrassed to admit, yes, I did work for the federal government. Okay. I worked for the U.S. tax court.
Don't tell Baldoni.
No, yeah, he paid.
Oh God!
By the way, Matt, you'll never listen to this, but I hope we get to hang out soon. I'd like to learn more about libertarianism. So, anyway, that's just a joke. Although I would like to hang out soon. So I did work for the government earlier on in my career. I worked for some tax agencies. It was always with the feds, and I did some work with the IRS. And when you're not on an audit, you're not yet, like you said, you're not just sitting around, twiddling your thumbs.
No, they're doing stuff. Yeah.
Like you're actually they have such a backlog. This might shock you.
Wait. So you're saying you're not social workers, right? You're just not sitting there. Okay. There's stuff to do.
So Oh, I see someone is saying, no IRS, no tax industry. That's true. Okay, yes, and that is absolutely correct. Like there has to have like a cops and robbers situation thing going on. But my whole point is that the IRS, I actually don't want them to be more funded because I mean, they don't really audit people that they should be auditing. They really go after the sort of the middle income people because they know the middle income people can't really afford to spend thousands of dollars on attorneys and high-priced accountants sort of dealing with that. So what they normally do is, and I'm sure some people in the chat know this, like they do a lot of mail correspondences. So they'll just, a computer will spit out a piece of paper that says, hey, we want you to substantiate all these expenses from, 2018. They always do these, 2 or 3 years later. And then when you answer all their questions, you have to wait another year or two at this point before they'll come back to you and say, oh, you're all clear. So they're trying to fund themselves. They wanted to backfill this. The pandemic did. You guys have probably seen this in the media. They're still about a year and a half behind processing paper returns. They were already like months behind before the pandemic started, and now it's a cluster.
They should complicate the tax code and make more extensions.
And you know what? That is just what they've been doing.
That's what they're going to do. I wonder if they'll be behind more.
Yeah, you think? And now one fun thing that they try to do is they try to put more and more like compliance pressures on us. So, you have to fill out K2s, K3s, just new, more pain in the ass stuff every single year. But here's the rub on that. Now, I'm not saying I do this myself, but just theoretically, this is the problem. We could all like comply with all that. We could get educated. We could just do everything that they want us to do. They don't have anybody there who can really enforce it because nobody there knows how to do it either. Like the people they have working there barely understand the own like rules and regulations.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, the cops don't understand the law. They can't really effectively enforce it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason that they passed that fund the IRS thing, I guess it was a year or so ago, was because they wanted to bring in talent who could understand this stuff, who could enforce it. And my understanding is they just haven't been able to hire enough revenue agents because you can make more money not doing that. Plus, when you're on this side, you want a weekend IRS. You don't want them to be strong. But that is a good point that, when there's no IRS, technically, and maybe we won't have an industry.
Yeah. Well, if these guys all had fathers, asshole consulting. No, seriously. Yeah. I mean, it would, the entire red pill community wouldn't exist. Roosh would have been a virologist.
That is true.
No. You want this one? Seems like an interesting question.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one right there. Yeah. So Lewis M. Chad, I passed the CPA exam and I work at a small firm doing tax. I should be licensed in a few months. Would you recommend getting experience at a bigger firm before starting my own shop? I would just recommend getting experience, period. So in a way, it's kind of a can't lose situation. It always looks good on the resume if you're in public or a larger firm for a year or two, because you can sort of stick that as a feather in your cap when you market yourself, as a tax preparer. But just to give you a vote of confidence, Luis, like there is such a need. There's such a need for tax preparers right now. It kind of doesn't matter. I mean, I would almost say just go with whichever one makes you the happiest. I mean, whoever's like treating you well, paying you well, whatever work you're doing that you enjoy, that's what I would say. And I wouldn't have said that 2 or 3 years ago. Back then, I would have said, go to public, just endure it for a year, take the ass beating. It's like being a pledge in a fraternity.
Go to audit because the girls are hotter.
Some of you in here might already know this, but when you do work at public, and I'm not saying we didn't have some good-looking women in tax, but the hotter ones were in audit. That's just my experience. But yeah. We got anything else?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like you would take because you're so far.
Yeah, normally
you go through it, but this one seems interesting. It's just funny how the Big Four lowballed him.
Steve Duncan, you're absolutely correct. Big Four only offered him $64K with way worse hours. So when I was dabbling in Big Four in 2011, so over 10 years ago, I finished my grad school. I'd gotten my license, and I was looking into becoming a senior. They were only offering staff accountants, so entry level with all those terrible hours. You're taking the beatings from everybody. The maximum salary was only $55,000. That's it. So it's only gone up $9,000 in over 10 years. You see how they got you by the balls in this industry? they've branded themselves like, well, you know, if you want a future, you have to join public accounting and take all the abuse, and we're not going to pay you shit. But hey, they do pay for your CPA exam materials and fees.
That's
so
still only worth 90 hours a week.
I don't think it is.
I want to click on this one.
I'm fixated on the blue rubber band. Can't think straight.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it's good.
We'll keep it there then.
You know what you need to do? Like when you get back to your regular office, you need to get a blue rubber band and twist it.
Yeah.
So it's off center, and it'll drive everyone nuts.
All right, I will do just that. Let's see if we got anything else.
Tom? Here's a question.
Well, there's a good
Career question.
Hey, Tom. I'm in a private industry, real estate accounting, but I want to branch out independently. Should I go to the Big Four for tax preparation experience? Tom, this kind of depends on your age, whether you're licensed or not. The only thing is real estate accounting. Well, you do want to branch out. I actually think you might want to do that, but only for a year, because you've already got experience. You can take the year, you can get them to, you know, pay for all those study materials if you don't have that yet. I would say, yeah, try it. See if you can get in. See if you can get a job in Big Four. You don't have to, but I think it's worth applying to. So yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We can let them run for a while, just to give you some inside baseball. So you got 53 people on out. By the way, guys, if you would, please subscribe to Chad's YouTube channel, because the main reason is why.
Well, because once I get 1,000 subscribers, the sooner we get that, the sooner that Clarey can start potentially getting paid super chats. Like, I don't want to make any money. I want nothing.
Okay,
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more important than that.
Yeah, more important.
More important than me making money.
Well, I could make money, and Atham could maybe make some money when I bring him on.
You bring him on, yeah, but you'd get to 1,000 subscribers before DT did. Like, in 1/8 the time, you would have gone to 1,000 subscribers.
So, poor DT.
But anyway, Bo, I was gonna say, so you got a fair amount of people, and wait till like good questions come in, because some other people just gonna chat and be friendly with each other. But then you wait. But I do want to hear about all the morons. Like, how many? Like, let's talk about the firings. I always enjoy the firings.
All right, you actually. Oh, you had just left when this thing that I'm about to talk about was starting. You had just left. You were almost there for when this happened in February.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so there's a number of people. I specialize in a certain sector. You've heard me talk about it. I work with some therapists. Most of them are pretty good. There were a couple of new ones that just don't understand a couple of things. Okay, they've always self-prepared. Okay, so I would give them a quote. I'm not getting into the details. There's something called an S corp. If you have your own business, you want to create a separate structure. You save on self-employment taxes. I'll talk about that some other stream. So this person, I gave them a quote. Okay, I said, now you have to understand it's going to be from X range to X range, and I'd give a range. You never give an exact quote because you don't know how complicated it's going to be. You don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know what shitty condition the bookkeeping is going to be in. And frankly, if they're just miserable pain in the asses, yeah, you're going to raise their fee. So this person, after zillions of questions leading up to tax season, I mean, just horrible, horrible pain in the ass. And I monitored them. I made sure if you're going to challenge me, I document all this stuff.
You had like a sliding scale kind of thing?
I am prepared to show if need be. If someone really pushes me, I'm prepared to show you, why your fee the way it is the way it is. I'll mention all the emails you send. I'm very meticulous with this. Yeah, but I almost never have to do this because very few people challenge me the way this woman did. So this person, you've already heard how stressed and pissed off, like I was in a bad spot when all this is going on. And this person had terrible records. I did all kinds of work for them. I really, really worked hard. So the time comes, I submit and by the way, they did not get me their stuff all that early. We're talking the last 2 weeks before that March 15th deadline I was talking about. So I had to scramble a little bit. So I do the invoice, I send it expecting it's still within that range that I quoted. Okay. This is not out of left field. What do you think happened after that?
Oh my God. Why did I can't believe that. Was it a Karen?
Very much
Queen
so.
of the Karens.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. How dare you lie to me? I don't have right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, email this long. I'm not comfortable with paying this, blah, 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 blah. It's just this whole, no. So yeah, obviously I was pissed. I'm like, oh, fuck you. But I calmed myself down. I'm like, okay, they just don't know how this works. So I wrote back and said, well, the reason I gave you that range was it took me extra time because of this. Now, you asked me quite a few questions leading up to this, and I really spent time walking you through this. And that's okay because you're new. But this is why the invoice is the way it is. What happened next? I thought that would end the matter. And, I added some language where I'm like, look, this is about a long-term relationship, okay? I'm not trying to nickel and dime you. It's just, this is what we do in this instance. So I thought that would nip things in the bud. I thought I'd get like, I understand, whatever, at least
I'll try hard next year to get my stuff to you on time.
And you know what? This happens occasionally. And most people say that to
Really?
their credit. So, well, I'm not saying most, half people will say, I understand, I'll just, we'll discuss it later, but I'm comfortable with that. And then we just move on. They pay, I file, end of story. This person, now what do you think she replied after I outlined everything, explained how the process worked?
Would it not just be a repeat of her previous complaints, or did she go victim angle?
Victim angle.
No, really?
Well, maybe not in the way that you're thinking, but she tried to turn it around and, look, I know prices are going up, but as a therapist, I'm unable to charge a higher rate. With all these prices going up, inflation, I wasn't able to raise my rate. And I'm like, that's not my problem. Like, go back and look at what I said in the previous email.
Was it another example of you don't exist and only I exist?
Yes.
In this
oh
world?
my
solipsism.
God.
All right. Yeah.
Very solipsistic.
Right. Okay. That's what I was. Okay. Yeah.
Like in one episode, I was going to even, for a future episode, I might paraphrase certain parts of that email. I'm not going to do it today, obviously,
right.
but I mean, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, before I tell you what I did, how would you guys have handled a situation like that? And remember, it's busy season. I'm pissed. I've already done the work. Like, I'm just.
Did you get paid in advance like a retainer?
I did not get paid in advance. But remember, I don't file anything until I'm paid.
Right.
So I can do. And this 99% of the times that my system works. This is honestly somewhat of a rare case.
Should refuse to pay then.
They're just like, well, I'm only going to pay the lower end of what you quoted.
Okay, then I wouldn't file.
And that's what I said. I'm like, well, although I spent hours on it, I'm not going to file. I'll file an extension for you, but that's X amount. Pay me that now. I'll do it. I'll send you a referral. What happened next?
I'm going to say she changed her tune because she probably got a higher bid or quote from a different guy.
She took that. So when I said that, I'm basically giving her a middle finger, and I thought it was very nice of me to say, I'll even,
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah.
So by the way, I got a 1-star. This was one of the bad.
You need.
That was a different person, but yeah, I got it.
You need 1 stars, otherwise it doesn't count. Sometimes some people like D's.
Yeah,
some
people can pass a course with a D. We got more to talk about.
You want him building your bridges?
Yes, you do. So anyway, this person with that response I gave them about filing an extension. They thought this was me opening up a negotiation. This was not a negotiation. So she came back and said, okay, well, I'm not comfortable, but I'll go this high, which was maybe another like $100 or something. She's like,
okay, go on. I'm sorry. I know what I would do at this point.
What? Tell us.
I would just stop responding. I said, I did this. I'm like, and I would be banking on the fact she's a spoiled, lazy Karen with her worthless degree and whatever, has been entitled, and she would think that would be taken care of.
You would think.
Yeah.
So she did, and my patience, remember, I'm just pissed at the world right now.
Right.
So my patience is really thin. I gave her one last chance, which I should not have done.
You should not have done.
Mm-hmm. I said, so-and-so, not a negotiation. The invoice stays. Do you want me to file an extension? Please send X amount right now. Otherwise, that's it. That's the end of it. We're going to have no further communication. What happened next?
She called you.
Well, she tried. She kept trying to set up a call.
You should totally not have a number. Be like,
I don't have one.
Good. Awesome.
I don't have a number.
No number. Awesome. That's
they
great.
cannot reach me. We don't do calls. Not tax season. Not never. If you want to, we'll schedule a Zoom if we have to. But no.
This is good for young people if they want to set up their own shop. Like, don't have a phone number.
No. Google Voice if you have to. Do not. This was one of the mistakes that I made early on when I did this. Never give them your phone number. Ever. No. Remember, offices are going away, so you should not even have an office number. So, Well,
I'm gonna. She came back with more whining. I'm just a poor therapist who took other people's money with student loan problems.
I'm a single mom.
I'm a single
What do you
mom.
think of the
Well,
Whatever,
no,
right?
it didn't get
And
into
then-
that.
Well, okay, but she tried to go back into negotiation and waste your time.
She was basically like, okay, and sent me. There's more to this. So
Okay.
she did say she sent me that amount. She's like, okay, please file an extension. I'm like, okay, filed the extension. Whatever, swept it under the rug. Here's where we get to the real fun part of the story.
Boy.
You actually mentioned this earlier. What do you think happened just a couple weeks later?
Oh, you got like a 1-star review on Yelp.
No.
Oh.
She did come back to me. She emailed me.
After she shopped around a little bit.
She shopped around a little bit and realized that she was never going to get anything cheaper. I mean, my rate was still pretty healthy. And, no accountant was going to get to the level that she thought that she could get in the middle of tax season, S-Corp return a week before the filing deadline.
Right.
So she's like, hey, Chad, I first want to apologize, blah, blah, blah. I was in a rough spot, et cetera, et cetera. If you've still done the work, well, I'll do it. I'm not comfortable paying it. And,
still has to
oh
win,
my God.
still has to have that.
You didn't reply, right?
No.
I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, there was
I'm
that
gonna
was
use that phrase. Well, I'm not comfortable paying $4.75 for gas.
And I will be like, I'm not comfortable charging you less.
Basically. So, well, one thing this is the part, like, she said all that. She's like, okay, if I have to, I'll pay that amount for this year's return, but we need to open up negotiations for next year because, I am not going to pay this amount again. What do you think I did at that point?
You didn't email.
I did not reply.
For you. Good for you.
Did I get another email?
Bad child.
Did I get another email from her later
Yeah,
on?
of course.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Chad, I just wanted to check and see if you got my first email. Nothing.
Hey, ladies, remember when you cut us out? Like, oh yeah, I'll meet you at Friday at 7, and then it's like 6:30. We're like, hey, we still on for tonight? 6:45. Hey, am I picking you up? 6:55. Why is your dad yelling at me, saying he doesn't know who I am? That like they would just give us like, no,
Right,
ghost.
right.
Ghost.
And that's what I did. And I'll tell you guys, that's very unlike me. But this season, like, pushed me to the edge. And I didn't. There were a couple other stories like that weren't as interesting. But I ghosted others as well that were doing this.
Good.
Some of them begged, like, please, please, please. I made a mistake.
Can you on your website like kind of toughen up the language like how I have? No, because like I don't really have price negotiations.
Right.
Like I have people that will like, oh geez, well I didn't know. I'm like, okay, now it's more.
Right.
Like I don't mess around. Like my time, if I have to email you, it's an extra $15.
Right.
So I mean, can you put that language like because if you go to elkincpa.com, it's a very professional looking CPA, nice kind of. And I'm wondering how many of these people think you're a pushover because he's just a CPA nice guy.
I think some of them have that impression. Of
right. They think you're Brian Kim.
Right.
When you gotta be.
Now I like Brian Kim. I like Brian Kim.
I was gonna hope for some.
He did it. You know why he did it the right way? Because these people who were a pain in the ass to him for years, he got 1 million YouTube subscribers. You know what he did?
He got out of there.
He just got out. They bitched, they moaned. He got all kinds of 1-star reviews. He couldn't care less because he left him in the lurch. And you know what, Brian?
Wow.
Much respect. Yes.
You guys are at each other's throats.
I was always just jealous.
Like meet me down at Whacker and Central, and I'll beat your ass. I thought
it was just jealousy. I was like, how did he get 1 million subscribers?
CPA fights on an MMA. That'd be great. That'd be great.
I am good with Brian. I subscribe and I even listen to his stuff.
You do? Okay.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
You see the wisdom of Brian?
I do. Dude, he did it the right way.
Jiu-jitsu, right? Accounting jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Shout out to Double J there. Okay, so that's just one of the stories I thought they would enjoy hearing about.
Yeah, but there was like it almost sounded like this season was aside from your piece of crap colleague who, again, you're not starting your own business ever. If I find out, it's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening.
Right.
But aside from that guy, like, wasn't it just the clients were all that much worse? Like you almost, you every year you have to fire more and more.
And I did have to do it this time. And that wasn't the only instance, and it wasn't always over price. Like some people were just really being unreasonable with like, I need to talk to you about this, that. Oh, hello. I see someone in the chat.
The traitor. The traitor.
Hola,
get out of here, you hypocrite.
You are awesome.
Just a vile woman. Vile.
Oh
She
yeah,
has a good taste in men, right?
I think she does.
Horrible
I think
taste.
that
Horrible.
Samantha,
Just,
she backed the right one. I'll
yeah,
just say that.
you just, oh.
So okay. But there were some others where I had to do this too. And for years, you have to understand, you know me, I was Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes.
I didn't want to leave them in a lurch because I cared. Okay.
Mhm.
Up until about last year, I cared. You guys, I just don't care anymore. This absolutely beat it out of me. I mean, now I'll give Clarey a little bit credit. Yeah, I've learned how to be a total asshole, you know.
You are like private third class asshole. You got into the military. You're a cadet asshole right now. You got a ways to go.
Got my foot in the door. And yes, Chris did say Brian Kim has a good channel. He does have a good channel. Will this one be better? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I still think if you smack talk and had some drama going on, that would
Yeah.
really drive up.
I like him too much now. I'll save this for a future episode. One of Brian Kim's former clients gave me a 1-star Yelp review, and then right after that, like I saw it because you can see other people's reviews. Literally right after that, she gave him a 1-star Yelp review because she remembered. Wait, why was I using this new account in the first place? So yeah, Brian Kim screwed me.
Is there a rule like if you keep giving your accountants, your CPAs, 1-star reviews, maybe it's not the CPAs that have the problem, but you.
Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's you. Yeah.
So you remember I actually talked to you that night, and I was kind of like bummed because I was like, well, I got a 1-star Yelp review.
Yes, I do remember that conversation. Yes.
But you know what? It turns out nobody cares because remember, there's a shortage of us. All somebody has to do is click on that person's username and see that they left 1-star reviews for every company on there that they've used.
I don't think it's even that. I don't think you have to worry about it because you are like you have a tribe now of guys. You have a surplus of clients, so already you should be looking to get rid of people.
Yeah,
but not only that, but if we wanted to, and push came to shove, and you just need some tax, like just some money, I could say, hey, Chad's hired. His services are off again. If you guys are interested, Chad's offering his tax service. So I don't think you have to worry about any stuff.
Yeah, right. And I used to I remember in previous years, I would say, hey, I'm kind of worried that if I lose some business or whatever, and you would be like, yeah, we'll just promote you. And then that'll be it. Are there more good questions?
No, I was just removing that one. I'll go through the chats, but yeah, no, I mean, what I am curious about have you fired people? Like, what are you doing now? Like, what, you got to cut them down another 25%?
Yeah, I'm going to be making more cuts because you heard the lurch that I was left in. So I hate to say it, I'm going to have to refer out some people that are lower fees because at the end of the day, this is all about fees. And, if you're not friend, family or whatever, if you're not within my wheelhouse in terms of what who I work with, I need to send you to somebody else. And since there's a shortage of people, I don't know what to say. You're going to have to be paying more for tax preparation services now. Mm-hmm. Don't negotiate price. You're going to end up at the H&R Block and the Jackson Hewitt. You're going to pay high fees anyway, and those people don't know what they're doing.
Could you just, like most people, if you have one W-2, you can do it yourself?
Yes.
It's just...
So I get, obviously, during tax season, 5 a day, I'm getting new client inquiries. Because, people are like, they try it on their own, and they're like, oh, I can't figure this out. How much is your fee? When you ask a CPA in the middle of tax season how much their minimum fee is,
it's $600 for 15 minutes.
Yeah. This is my favorite thing. How much is your fee for a very simple return? First of all, I'm the one that decides if it's simple, not you.
Right.
Everybody thinks they have a simple return. Second, I would just smile and give a very high rate. And the very few that would need it, I did it for them. Everybody else, I never heard back from.
Yeah. No, that's it. It's good to get into a position where you don't have any free time left. And if somebody wants that extra hour, it's like, okay, we're talking $300 an hour.
Yeah.
But no, I don't need you.
Right.
Go away. Like my time right now negotiating is
the moment you hear but $400.
Yeah. No, it's really.
That's what gets me. And again, I was going to put together a show about this, but I was going to read some of these new client inquiries.
Absolutely. Anonymize it, but absolutely.
Oh yeah. And then because I would respond, and I think it's the responses that they would really get a kick out of, because some of them really thought that I was open to a negotiation on April 5th per se. They really thought I would take the time and do a bidding war on that.
What I would do out of pure spite and a pure accounting flex, as people are saying, is come April 5th, like you don't do any work. Like your last day is April 5th.
Yeah.
You tell me, nope, you will get it to me March 30th. And
Already
and then
done.
Oregon.
I've already been doing that.
Okay, good.
Already
And then
been
for
done,
the
yeah.
remaining 10 days of tax season, you just read through the emails and laugh and mock at these latecomers. And then all the accountants in the world would love you.
I have got future stories for you guys that I think you're going to love about this. I really do, because from about April 1st all the way up to the deadline, I mean, some of the email responses I got were classic, and I think you might enjoy them. So I'll just kind of put that up for later. But yeah, so that's pretty much how tax season went. And I've been talking a while about this, but I kind of I want to get Clarey and Atham involved because we had a pretty good day, and I thought we'd tell a story.
You got some good questions here, though.
Oh, are there more good questions?
Because the day will come that you're going to get super chats, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, and these people are very kind to offer chats, like legitimate
Sure.
questions.
Yeah.
And so I think they are bringing up other. So
let's
go
yeah.
through these a little bit.
Sorry, I'm a little far from the computer.
I know you want to talk about me. I'd like to talk about myself too.
Yeah, and I know you're chomping at the bit.
Sometimes you have to tolerate the plebs and the commoners here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we got in here? So All Pro Lemonton Z. Hey, I've seen you in several of Clarey's chats. Says, for the first time ever, Big Four is easy to get an offer. I had one interview with a partner on Zoom and I got an instant offer. It was way more competitive pre-COVID. Yeah, because like I was saying, even the Big Four, I think, is having some trouble finding qualified candidates for this, even if it's right out of undergrad, because not a lot of people are majoring in accounting. Those figures are down.
Here's a good question.
Harvey asks, what books would you recommend to get better at tax planning? Assuming you've already licensed and started in the tax industry. Well, there's this one book. Now, I'm a little bit biased, and we have a few volumes of it. It's called the Elkins Comprehensive Tax Guide. I think I would recommend buying every single one of those. We kind of quit doing that a couple of years ago. But first you get up to speed on those. And then you can actually, J.K. Lassiter, I hate to promote them, but they actually do have some pretty good guides about how to, get to some of the more serious stuff. Because there's been a lot of tax changes since 2018.
Was that kind of why your dad stopped writing the stuff?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm retired.
He's just like, yeah. And then when COVID happened, he's like, you know what? They're about to blow this up. And they did.
Yeah.
So he's just like,
I'm glad he's a Democrat, though. I'm glad he needs more government regulation.
He earned the rest. But yeah, Harvey, I would just say maybe not books, but just kind of like, honestly, reading blogs really help because you got people like me who are talking about sort of the ins and outs of stuff. So, but I will talk about that in the future. I'll have some more books that maybe you guys should get. Luis M again. Chad, for us trying to start a firm, should we get a niche? For example, crypto and real estate. It's always good to get a niche because not only for marketing purposes, but word of mouth among like specific professions or fields. Yeah, it'll spread like, oh, yeah. I'm reading some of these chats.
Here, this is horrible.
Lafata 7. Samantha Aldeco, you can't comment. Only emojis, but she said she loves Chad. This is why that she got such high praise from me, and why Mr. Clarey is a little bit hurt.
I'm not hurt. I am betrayed. Betrayed by the elder brethren.
Hey, now that when they ask you who hurt you, you can say Samantha.
I can say Samantha hurt me.
Don't
you see the knife? That's I carry it with me, so I'm reminded.
But yeah, so I'll talk about just the niche question. I want to say it's a little bit hard to like start out in a niche because you got to get a bunch of experience. I would say first build up a client base. Don't make the mistake I did, which is take any lowbrow client that is a pain in the ass. I'll talk about that again in future episodes. But just get some clients first. And if you see a commonality between the two, then it's a good idea to start working towards that niche. For reference, my niche was originally hairstylists, and then it eventually pivoted to therapists, which is funny because each needs the other. But
and don't forget my favorite one, your other niche that you have.
Oh, what's that? The artists.
The artists,
yeah,
yes,
the artists,
online internet artists of the female persuasion.
I'm gonna one day dedicate an entire show.
Okay,
to
that
artists.
one I'm tuning into.
Yeah, you might. I'll save that one for now. But yeah, a niche would be good, but don't start out like that. Start out just getting some good clients and then kind of go from there. We got any?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Oh,
You're gonna
Scottish
have more
man.
questions than I guarantee you. You'll have more questions than you have time. So
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Scottish man. What are your thoughts on government taxing all the cryptos, even though they're dropping in price? Cryptos, the IRS, so you know how I was talking earlier about how they're trying to put the onus on us preparers in terms of compliance since they can't keep up with all this. The IRS hates crypto so much because they don't have access. They can't get into
oh, that's so bad.
yeah,
Aw.
Kraken, or there's a bunch of different ones, you know, wallets and everything.
Yeah.
They don't send their, so if you sell stock, say you got a brokerage account with Vanguard or something, you know, the IRS knows what capital gains you have because they send the brokerage statement to the IRS. They get the capital statement. You don't get that with crypto. The IRS does not see what your crypto trades are.
As it should be.
Yeah, I mean that's
That's too bad.
that's why they hate it so much.
See, I kind of I'm sympathetic towards the IRS because they are so understaffed and they have to deal with the dumbest people in America.
Yes, there's
like
that.
I mean, it's not like the IRS agents are these evil people. They're just accounting majors. I'm sure maybe one of them are like at a hate boner for successful people. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh darn, you can't take more of people's wealth. Oops, you know, that's more of a finger to the politicians than anything else. But
will you click on the one right above that? That's a good
this one?
comment right there. Yeah, and he's a tax accountant. I've seen him in comments, and you know, we've shared some messages. Some CPAs are already doing this, not just CPAs. Some tax preparers are also doing this. They send, including the big four. They've got people working in the Philippines and various other countries. Yeah, India, and they do the simple, you know, 1040. So they do outsource it, but of course they pay them nothing and charge you.
You know, it's just crazy. Like, okay, you're gonna send some poor, 20-year-old kid in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And like all you have to do is buy TurboTax or get the actual 1040 ES form and fill it out.
Right.
I mean, it's not that hard.
Especially
if you got a W-2.
Yeah. But that's actually, a lot of people do that. I personally, I don't want to do that yet. If I'm going to get some help, I'd rather it be somebody I know who I can train. But that is a good thought for the future because people are already starting to do that. What else we got? Andrew S. Chad, is it possible to have a publicly viewable schedule that shows you work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week during tax season? I knew a CPA that used a marker board behind him showing he has no time. So I do keep track of my hours. Like from the second I sit and work on something, I do for anything.
But you make it publicly available?
No, I don't make that publicly. But to that earlier story I had, I did because I saved that time. I said, look at how much time I spent answering your emails and, you know, cleaning up your bookkeeping, and you're haggling me on price right now. But you heard the rest.
Well,
of that
story. And there are so many people. Solipsistic is the word.
Yeah,
they don't think you exist. Only they exist, and these people have no clue, clue, and that's why she waited till April. So
let me I just want to say the worst clients are the ones that, for whatever stupid reason, think that they are your only client. I cannot comprehend people like this, and there's people like
CPA,
that. Right? Yeah. So we don't have that yet. This is why we need to get up to first 1,000 subscribers, because then you know I can do more of these and get the hours requirements in there, and then Clarey can start taking half of my super chats when we have them on. Yeah,
I'm on commission now. Then the other thing, you need 4,000 view hours. So right now you're already at about 500.
500. Okay,
you're an eighth there. Wait, 4,000 divided by 500, is that right? Because you got 55 people viewing. We're coming up an hour. That's 550 hours.
Oh, cool. That's all it takes.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's it's not that hard, especially if you go more like the shorts channels are the one that's hard to do it, because if your short is 3 minutes, not a lot of people tune in. But 191. Give it about a month or two, and you'll be able to do it.
Click on Jason Bourne's. That is a good point. Okay. It isn't always the latecomers' fault, because a lot of 1099ers, they have to wait, owners, et cetera, et cetera. That is not the case for my typical clients. With them, it's mostly laziness. Very few of them came to me late because they were waiting for forms. It was mostly because they just dilly-dallied. So that's my particular client base. But there are some people that had to wait. Is this a good one?
That's kind of a good one.
Omen Crimson. Any chance they may lower the barrier for entry for CPA if there's enough of a shortage? So it's in my best interest that they don't do that, obviously, because then I can charge more, supply demand. Honestly, they probably should a little bit. I don't think you need to take 30 extra hours to sit for the CPA exam. That's just an unnecessary expense. So I Honestly, I don't think they're going to do that because, like you always talked about, progressive credentialism. I mean, that's kind of like prices. That doesn't go down. That's
I hate this putting barriers to entry to become a professional or to participate in this economy so much that I am contemplating hunting down by name each CPA state board president and then going and doing a video with their name on it and saying, why are you making it harder? There's a shortage of CPAs. Stop making people get master's degrees. In the olden times, do you know what you had to do to become a CPA?
Pass exam.
Pass a test.
pass.
That was it, and that's how it
Yeah.
should be this entire time. But no,
Mhm.
they really just want to cripple your finances. So, you really got to bring a light on these scumbags. Look who's here.
What we got? Hey, Juan.
Juan,
What's
the SM
happening?
Patriot. Look at that. He's
Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Don't
And
step
then
in any crap on the street.
Al Cortez, he's a regular guy too. He comes.
They
in.
shouldn't. No, I agree with you. I agree. It's good for us if they don't do that. I'm just saying, like, over big picture, I'm not sure they're going to have a choice because the numbers are looking bad.
I'm saying just bring it back to what it was 5 years ago.
Yes, eliminate that extra 30 hours. You don't need that.
Here, this would be an interesting one.
8191. How does work in the Big Four compare to work at smaller firms? I only have Big Four experience. And what are career options outside of accounting that someone with tax or Big Four experience could pivot to? I'll take the first one there. Now, there's non-Big Four public accounting firms, but Big Four is the hardest of the hard. You're going to work so hard, as you already know. While you're still working hard during busy season, it's not quite that militant, I suppose, when you're in industry. I'm missing some good chats.
No, you're not here. There's Juan.
Juan. Oh, well, thank you. Juan, I'm really honored that
what would we be without him?
Yeah, I'm so glad you came to my first one. Can we go back up to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, because the second question was pretty good. A lot of my classmates, I went to grad school. I got my MBA, which I really regret. Waste of money. I wish I'd never done that. I just want to put that on there. What a lot of people in my class, they were coming from the Big Four, either audit or tax. A lot of them went into consulting, sometimes with the Big Four companies, other times with like McKinsey, not asshole consulting, but the ones that rip you
very
off.
Prestigious firm I run. Yes.
Now, ironic, a lot. So I graduated over 10 years ago. A lot of them burned out, and they're not, they didn't stay there. But that is the typical track.
Are there any females from your MBA class that I wanted to be was a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah.
What, really?
There were some that just did it all the wrong way. But to be fair, I'm sorry, lady. They didn't have the looks to really become stay-at-home moms, so they kind of had no choice.
Well, then they did make the best of their time.
I mean, hell, MBA programs are usually 3/4 men. So if you can't, and a lot of people hooked up and married in my class. Like if you failed at that when that was why you went there, you missed the boat.
All right, here's the most important question of the whole thing.
What we got?
Right.
Scottish man, Chad, who could outpace a person in a hike? You, Atham, or Clarey? Yeah, like what? We went on a hike earlier today. This might be a good segue for the story.
For everyone to follow our Twitter and Instagram accounts, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell them the story because I'm going to sit down because I'm tired of being your Vanna White.
I've been blabbering for an hour. Let's bring you guys.
That's usually how
more into
podcasts
this.
go.
Yeah, I don't know how you all do it.
See how easy it is?
Yeah,
just to talk. But you guys are here. You're making it easier for me. Okay, so we went on.
Well, answer this question first. Who do you think would be the best hiker?
I would say Atham. I think.
Wow, you are such a back. You and Samantha, man. Like, do you like how we gonna backstab Aaron today?
Well, one, I won't say me because I'm humble. I can't say you because when I tell them the story, we'll see your ego is already big enough.
You could just say the truth.
All right, I think Clarey was pretty much at the front this time. Today, we went up a place that
in Utah, he was front runner for a while until we ended up going to Cliff at the very last a mile or something.
I guess a good answer
is a year and
is
a half ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying but you're
going to I was in shape.
Well, yeah, but okay, if we're in our best shape, you ain't no joke.
I mean, if I'm in shape,
we're all doing pretty good, but I would say Atham was. But then, your knee went out or something like that on the
I got cramp. I had cramps.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, PMS for that time of year.
Yeah, but today you did good today.
Well, I mean, considering that I've been working my ass off, and I work I drive for like 18 hours and then we went on a hike. Well, not today, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's legit.
I can say where we hiked up, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Harney's Peak. We went to Harney's Peak. It's very nice. It's about a 3.5, I think, 3.5 mile. Yeah, one way. I think it's maybe 1,000 feet or so.
1,100.
1,100.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, so it's a good hike. And then at the last part, it's tough because you're really going up.
Yeah.
Old
grandma ladies were hiking it. Really tough mountain, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally hitting on them.
They were hot.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good time to talk about what happened to Clarey.
Always a good time to talk about this
during the hike. Now, what we don't want is for his ego to get bigger than it already is. So that's something we try to avoid. As
Samantha will take care of that.
Samantha, yeah. So we need to. That's the balance us accountants seek. We need that. So I guess we were almost near the top, right? So we're getting near the top, that little stretch, and we hear this faint voice, Aaron Clarey, right? We heard somebody just say your name.
Well, you guys don't know this because you were a little bit ahead of us, but he had been following us for a while.
Yeah,
because I heard somebody breathing down my neck. Yeah, I was like, "Who is that?" He's like, "That's Aaron Clarey, right?" He's like, "Yeah, unfortunately, it is."
Yeah.
Did you say that?
Unfortunately, you got to dig in right there. So Clarey got recognized on this hike, which you got. What are the odds of that?
Pretty high because I got recognized on a hike beforehand.
Yeah.
In Vegas. Yeah,
one time.
One time.
Yeah, well, 2 times now.
So the odds, right? And now people can substantiate it because we wouldn't lie about that.
As a witness.
But it was pretty impressive. So he goes, you're Aaron Clarey, or what did he say? He was
Aaron Clarey, and I thought one of you guys were yelling. I saw another guy who wasn't in our hiking camp before. I'm like, who's this guy? And then he's like, you? And I'm like, no fucking way.
Says I'm a real fan of yours. His name was Frank. We can use his name. And so he was. He doesn't live in the area, but he's kind of passing
elsewhere.
Through. He lives elsewhere, and he's on a little reconnaissance mission of his own.
And he's hiking Harney's Peak, just like I was like, I mean, he's doing it. He was sleeping in his car. Yeah. He was doing Harney's Peak, so I was very like, wow.
And hopefully we'll hang out later a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So that made Clarey's heart and ego grew 3 sizes larger. Just a few hours ago, this happened. Yep. So it was a really good hike. Everybody was happy.
Yeah. It was a beautiful day for a hike.
Beautiful day.
Yeah, not windy, no rain.
Yeah,
nice and cool, not humid.
So we've had a really good time here. We've done a bunch of fun stuff. We did a hike yesterday too, and that was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what we got planned tomorrow, but we got
we're gonna have to see about the ladies in our house and what they got in terms of work. But because you've never been here, we have to pretty much do Deadwood.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but we're also going to hit Spearfish Canyon, which is another beautiful spot. But we can kind of loop those all together, and then I will take you to the best place for chili, which is Bullwhacker's Saloon.
Yeah.
In Whitewood. So that's all kind of the same loop. But
yeah,
I don't know. You guys up for another hike if you want? Because I got
how long? How long have I?
Well, it's the one you, me, and was it Tornado Chasing Kids?
Yeah.
With us?
So I was here last summer, and so we did a bunch of stuff. I felt that was a combo of a hike and like we stopped a bunch of places, didn't we? Like we went through this one lead. And...
Yeah, well, you start in Deadwood.
Yeah.
You go up to the ridge of the mountain. You follow it all the way to the edge of the gold mine.
Yeah.
And then you go down into lead and follow the road down.
Yeah.
So we didn't stop really many places.
We just kind of went along the road. Yeah. Here, I just want to see more comments here. See what the chat says. Oh yeah. Okay.
See, but you got to scroll up.
Yeah.
See, because this is the difference between what you see and what I see. So you have to scroll up.
Yeah.
To where we left off if you really kind of want to get.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because so not monetized previous message.
Oh, yeah, you got to go up.
Yeah.
No, we were up.
Yeah.
That's the last one. The answer, Scottish Irishman, is I was the one. I was top dog today. Thank you very much.
I was keeping pace with him.
Good point. Chad. Okay, here we go.
Scottishman, Chad, I work in IT. Do you suppose the Dems will
East Asians
all the East Asians into America to artificially boost up the accounting?
Are they all
shortage?
accountants in East Asia?
They have plenty of accountants in India. I know that. You know what? Nothing would surprise me. I think that's something that they might consider. Now, would you trust necessarily them to prepare your return if they don't really have experience with it? I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend that. But I think that's a possibility. I mean, what are the H1B programs and things like that? They can be, I think it could happen. What else we got in here?
I think these are just comments, not a lot of questions. Labor shortage.
Yeah.
Hey, look who's here.
Hey, Doc. Good to see ya.
Look at that book that you can buy.
Yeah.
Or, you can buy this. And you know what you can do with it in addition to reading it?
Leave a review.
You could just let it sit and collect dust over
Collect
a
dust.
pile of books you have to get to later on sometime.
Everybody, leave, if you get the book, leave Doc a review. Leave him some good reviews there on Amazon.
Maybe even read the book too before you leave.
You could do that. Yeah, I would say that's a good part to start with. What else we got? So we got some regulars in here.
Who's the gentleman?
Hey, there's Sass. Sass 129. What we got there? Okay, Cold Fusion. Who's the gentleman on the left side of the screen? Not Chatter Cappy.
So sad. He didn't recognize either of you on the hike either.
Wait, he said he had heard of us.
He heard of you, but he
heard
didn't.
of us.
And he thought Atham was a creature or a mythical thing. He didn't know he existed.
He thought my name was code for something you're not supposed to do. He wasn't that wrong though.
Yeah, we're not making that up. That's actually happened.
This is Atham.
Yeah.
You don't know. Atham's been on he's been in the chat. He's even been on the screen.
He's the
before.
guy who always leaves the Mexican poops.
Right.
The professional moderator on my show.
Yeah. Chad's Twitter's private. Okay, I'll fix that. I'll get that fixed. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Is it private? I guess I protected them. Oh, Marcus Brown. Oh, hey, Marcus. Yeah,
the
thanks
second
for
Marcus Brown.
Yeah, Marcus. Okay. Thanks for putting the link to my channel in there. I definitely need to be doing that.
What's his background? Is he an accountant too, or he just follows us and enjoys the show?
I think he just follows us and likes being on the show. Yeah, Jason Bourne. Yeah, we got some good people in here. Safety Doc. Yep. Leave Doc a review. Yes, leave Doc a review because he could really use some of those after you get the book. Scotchman, Chad, would you run for president of the USA? Well, gee, could I really do any worse? I mean,
you really couldn't.
I couldn't. No, I don't think I could because all the people that are trying to cancel any political candidate would watch me 5 minutes on Clarey's stream and be like, nope.
Real quick, the gal says, "Nice to meet you, Atham." And then Marcus asked, no super chats. Yeah, Marcus, he's got to get to 1,000 subscribers and he has to have 4,000 watch hours. So if you guys would all 51 of you, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to Chad's channel. Yeah. And then watch the everyone is watching it, but go to a different computer with a different IP address and just hit play. Yeah. And let it play through. Although I have no worries about you hitting the 4,000 hour requirement.
Yeah, I was surprised we had this.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to do 8 more shows at this rate, and you'll get not only you probably get the 4,000 hour requirement before you get the 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I think so.
And because all Rollo had to do to get the 4,000 hours was do one show, and he had his 4,000 hours right there.
There,
and he only had 2 people listening on because he went on and on and.
Yeah, he went for 16 hours.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He always does. Yeah.
Well, no, I will be putting out shows. The next one, I'll be at home, so maybe I'll see if Clarey or Atham want to come on again. Otherwise, I'll just sit there and just talk.
Well, I'll help you out. We'll get you going. Yeah, I don't believe in because when I was on radio, they just drop you in.
They just talk.
They just and he was just like, what do I have? And I even remember one guy, the program director, told the because you always have a producer, and usually you banter a little bit with him. He told the guy to not say anything to me.
Really?
And I'm just like, what? And I'd ask him a question because beforehand it was good. I'm just like, oh, what did and nothing. And I'm like, and then it's like, look, we're supposed to be human here,
right?
Yeah.
If it's just going to be truly a one person, even Rush Limbaugh, you didn't hear me like, isn't that correct, Mr. Snurdly? And then Bo would always say something. Maybe you didn't hear it, but Bo was there.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question.
I'll roll that one up.
This one right here. Yes. I don't do any bookkeeping work, but I do have a couple of bookkeepers I refer. Frankly, it's usually therapists who aren't really comfortable doing their own bookkeeping.
No. Too lazy to do their own. To do bookkeeping is not hard. It's not that hard. You're too effing lazy. That's it.
Honestly, it's really not that hard to do bookkeeping. You don't have to be an accountant to do bookkeeping, you guys. But yeah, I do have a couple of bookkeepers that I refer out because I don't do bookkeeping work. I'm focused on tax and the like. That's a good question there. This is a really good question. When it's not busy season, there's nothing to do. What would firms have you do? The answer is if you're in public accounting, they'll find other work for you to do. It's not going to be, 70-hour week minimums, but they're going to find other engagements, even possibly from other departments, for you to help people on advisory. They make you take some of the stuff.
You dick.
Oh, what
Never mind. Go on.
Oh.
Continue on.
Well, first we're going to put this on, and then
see.
Look at
Yeah.
that beautiful.
How does it show up for you and not me?
Wait, you don't see this?
No, I don't see the Mexican poops. How do you get it and I don't?
You are not working.
I guess it likes me more. That's cool.
Man,
StreamYard likes me.
All this luck. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was excited about the Mexican poops.
If you're in public accounting or if you work for a firm, they'll find stuff for you to do. It's just you'll be working a 40-hour week, not the crazy hours. The crazy hours are just for busy season. So the way public accounting puts the screw job on you is, you work a shit ton of crazy hours. They don't necessarily give you a bonus for that, and you kind of have to work the rest of the year too. So there you go, and there you have it.
There you have it.
I don't really see any other questions here at the moment.
Hang on. Got too many of my fans here.
Yeah.
And by fans, I mean people that insult me.
Cappy's $200 recycled computer may have some issues. I think it's having some problems.
Let me explain something. All right. This is not a $200 recycled computer. This is a $50 recycled computer that my buddy got out of not getting a dumpster in Minneapolis.
That's
actually you got a good one.
I like this. Okay. If you got your undergrad in accounting and you have the requisite hours and all that, go ahead and get the CPA. Okay. Because if you want to maybe not just stick with taxes, you're going to be glad that you have the CPA because you can pivot really into any other area of accounting. But if you don't really have all those requirements and you're 1,000% sure that it's like, I just want to do tax work, that's when you get an EA. That's an enrolled agent. I will say from a marketing standpoint, the 3 letters CPA, it really packs a punch. Like if someone's looking for a tax preparer and one's a CPA and one's an EA, it doesn't mean the EA isn't as good as the CPA. It's just from a marketing standpoint, people understand what a CPA is, and not everybody knows what an EA does. So it just depends on what your goals are and what your experiences are.
The CPA helps, like you put that on your dating profile.
Oh, no, that never. All I used to get was people looking for free tax advice. Yeah.
Wait, so you're on a dating platform, and the girls reach out to you for tax advice?
Well, they would, unless it's a particular dating app, the guy has to reach out to them first.
Right.
That's generally how it works.
Okay, all right.
So you would exchange some messages, haha, and then I'd get these random tax questions. And
oh my god!
Actually, quick side story. This is when I was first getting my business up and running.
Oh.
And again, future episode. I promise I got plenty of stories. But when I was first getting started, so we're talking about 8-9 years ago. I was active on some of the dating apps, and so that summer I went on some dates. It was that first year when I was looking for clients. Like 6 months later, the girls we wouldn't hit it off. The girls wouldn't look like their pictures. Just we never contacted each other again. Then a few months later, it would be tax season. I'd get these random ass messages from people, from these same women who I didn't even remember in some instances. I didn't know who they were. Like, hey, you do taxes, right? I remember that from when we went out, in June. Is there any chance you can help me with my taxes? And this is actually how I started to get, grow my practice.
The female, predominantly interesting.
My original therapist, I actually met her that way. Seriously.
And a therapist client, not your therapist.
Therapist client. Yeah, I don't do. And even greater, she got me this shirt. The one
did she get you
she sent it in the mail last week. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of her.
She sent me while I was out of town. She sent me a random text like, "What's your shirt size?" And I just tell her, expecting she's going to send.
Do you know what your shirt size is? Do you know what your shirt size is?
Yeah.
Do you know yours?
No, I don't.
You never buy your own clothes.
I get like medium, small, I guess. But like, do you actually know the number?
No. It's just medium. Small, medium.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay,
no, that was all it was. But yeah, so basically, because I had a few failed internet dates, they later came back and were like, "If I remember, you do taxes, right?" And I'm like,
"No, I need you."
Well, I didn't even remember who some of them were. I'm like, well, if we didn't hang out after that, I guess you weren't good looking or I hated you or something. But yeah, I'll take your money.
Sure.
Now, a lot of them tended to be artists, which that's a whole other thing.
You have to do. You're going to do an episode just on that. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
All
yes. It's going to offend some people, but I've stopped caring about that. So.
Should I freak out and cry because I need to perform? Never mind. Inside joke.
Free dating advice. Also, don't date actresses. Just don't. Okay. I like that question. Hold on. Harvey Polanski, Chad, how long did it take for you to go from zero to enough income from your business to live off of? So, Clarey, I'm going back, I think it's 8 or 9 years in your material. Didn't you used to say two-pronged approach?
The two-pronged approach, yeah. However old that video is, yeah.
So this is actually how I originally found him, was that I did you know this story?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, I was just like, I hated what I was doing, and I was just like, I really think I want to strike out on my own, but are people even doing that? Because I had terrible boomer bosses.
You had terrible, and you had racist, sexist boomer bosses. I would also no, not claim. You did.
Yes.
You did.
Yes. And this was right when that was kind of ramping up. So like 8-9 years ago. And I remember there was a video that you had. It was something like, yes, your boomer bosses don't know shit. It was something
they don't know.
No,
yeah, something along that. There's many variants of those videos.
Yeah. So the long and short of it is, I actually started doing it on the side because you don't want to just, unless you have like a rich, or not a rich, if you have a spouse who's covering your needs, your financial needs, I think it's best to just do it on the side. And then while you're still working your other job, yes, you'll have to work nights and weekends during tax season, but suck it up. About 2 years in, so we're talking but by 2016, I'd had enough because.
And you could quit your job.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I started getting referrals into my niche industries, and that once you do, your name gets out there, it spreads like wildfire. And I got some good online reviews. I ended up turning up in a lot of like SEOs. I was going on the top, not because of it. Yeah, not because of anything I did. It's just people were leaving good Google and Yelp reviews, and that kind of took you up. Yeah. So to people that are like buying SEO services, I'm not sure that's necessary. But
I've never had luck with that, like Facebook ads and Google words and all that.
Yeah.
Like, never had any luck. Never.
But I want to stress this was 7 or 8 years ago, so it could be different now. But I did it on the side for a couple years. And by the way, as you might guess, I live minimally kind of anyway. So I didn't have a family to support. Like it was just me, and I'm not living in a 3-bedroom penthouse in River North. So my expenses weren't high to begin with. I truly felt like I could take the risk when I paid off all of my student debt. And that's when I was like, I have nothing to lose now. Let's do it.
Yeah. Once you get rid of that debt.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're like, man, I can get by at 25 grand or something if I want to. Yeah.
Well, I kind of figured like, what was there to be scared of at that point, So I just kind of went for it.
Get Micah R's question.
Micah R. Okay. Let's see.
One above.
Okay. Micah R. Chad, if you could simplify one thing about the U.S. tax system, what would it be and why? All right. People who have 1 or 2 W-2s and maybe a token amount of interest, the IRS can just go ahead and calculate what they owe for them and just send it to them and be like, based on these figures, we think you owe this. If you'd like to dispute it, you're welcome to.
Okay.
You have 30 days. Now, in Europe, they do this for everybody in some countries. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a W-2. They get a copy of it.
In other words, they can corroborate. Yeah, they can calculate themselves. Okay. All right.
Now, you get into things like brokerage statements I mentioned earlier. I'm talking about the simplest of the simplest situation, which frankly, most people fall into because most people have W-2s. I would just say do it automatically. Now, to get to more about the actual U.S. tax system, things I would simplify, you're going to hate this answer, but I was actually planning on doing an episode about that, about things that I would change.
I would get rid of the income tax is what I would do and just replace it with the sales tax.
Yeah, sales tax.
That's it. That's all I would do. Then it would just go away.
Consumption tax, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have some ideas about that. And that was, assuming I can keep doing this, there's enough interest. That was something I had as an idea for a future
episode.
Save it for later. Yeah, so I want to save that for later. Yeah.
What about that? Because I love it when people have kids and they think they don't have to pay taxes on children. Get the McTubis.
McTubis. How many people were surprised, pissed that they that okay. This was one of the reasons why it kind of another among many reasons why it sucked this past tax season. For those of you that don't know, part of the stimulus payment that they put out, and this was only for tax year 2021, so this didn't exist prior to that, and it's only for 2021 as far as we know. They're not going to do this for 2022. If they do, I'll be pissed. A lot of people, if you have children, you get what's called the child tax credit. You're supposed to only get that when you file your tax return. So that's why people would get refunds who have kids. And there's a whole earned income tax credit thing. I'm not going to get into that now. Now, as part of the stimulus between July 2021 and December 2021, people saw that they were getting automatic payments directly deposited into their bank accounts from the Internal Revenue Service. They didn't know what that was. Well, what that was they were giving you half of your child tax credit in advance, okay? Now, what happens is you have to reconcile that on the 2021 return. You have to say, well, you already got half of it. That took some people's refunds significantly down, and some people even had to owe because of that.
Oh, that's too bad.
It didn't matter how many times I explained what I just explained to you. It didn't matter how many times I explained this to some people. But we always get a refund. You must have done it wrong.
I was going to say, did they blame you?
Yes. I had a couple of them. Actually send me the link, like, oh, the child tax rate went up. I'm like,
were they fired? Are you going to
Yes.
be seeing them next year?
They don't know that they're fired, but they're about to be fired. Because some of them waited until like the second week of April to do. That was my favorite. I'm in the last few days, and people are like thinking I don't know how the child tax credit system works.
Yeah, no, what are you going to send them a notification, or do you just not contact them this year?
I'm a nice guy. I shouldn't be. But I let people know. I say, look, we're moving on. Here are a couple of CPAs. I'm so nice, I even get those CPAs to actually agree to take them on too.
Okay.
Now, do I get a little...
What do you have any legal obligation to inform them? So
No.
you could just like totally ghost them now?
Correct. Yeah.
I would ghost them.
Well, we have an engagement letters, like it's everybody has to sign an engagement letter. And so the engagement letter says, our business is only limited to this scope, the return for this year. So when it comes to tax season 2022, I'm under no obligation.
I would ghost them. That would be a good exercise for you.
You think?
You know how your therapist clients always say, I think it would be good for you if you talk to your father. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get the glasses and my fake degree from whatever school. I mean, I think it'd be good for you if you just ghosted those clients.
Yeah. I mean, I will say some people that I truly despise. Yeah, I'm ghosting them.
Good. Don't, because you know what's going to happen to them.
Well, they're going to contact me anyway, and then I say no.
But when are they going to contact you?
Oh, when they're going to contact me.
So you want your revenge on them?
Just don't reply. I've already
right, but they're going to be so hooked. They're going to have to pay premium figures.
Yes.
Because let me ask you this: who gets their taxes to you, Johnny, on the spot, quick, early on?
He wants you to say it.
Atham, who do you think he wants me to start talking about in that regard?
Probably himself. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So like if you said, "Oh, I'm not taking you on as a client," or you ghosted me, I would have 3 months to find a new CPA. These people, they're jerks. Why?
They're jerks, one, because they argue about things and then they're not ready, and they're losers, and they're lazy. But the other thing is, yes, and you know what? I did ghost some people coming into this year. Some people did piss me off last year, believe it or not. And yeah, some of them contacted me in April and said, "Hey, you still doing taxi? Can you do mine?" I'm like, I didn't even reply.
Good, do that. Yeah, like you have the ghost list.
Yeah, I do. That list is going to be way longer this year than it was last year.
And wait till they contact you April 12th.
Yeah.
So they are so up shit creek.
Actually, there were some that I so despised that I gave him quotes that were like $2,000.
Oh, yeah?
Which was way out of there. And some even wrote back, insulting replies like, "You could be fucking kidding me." But yeah, I'm just gonna ghost them because I mean, come on, there's too much business for us out there now with everything going on for us.
They need you.
Right. Now, this may not have been the case like 5 or 6 years ago. There was more supply and less demand, but the things have shifted. So
what percent of CPAs do you think have called it quits, especially accounting for the boomer guys?
I was reading some articles about this. They're saying between about 10 and 15%. Just
an eighth?
Yes.
Wow, in
There-
1 year?
There were a lot of older boomer CPAs that were sort of doing it like a bit like my dad, like kind of
Kinda
part-time,
part-time, yeah.
and they're just like, no, we're out. We don't
Wow.
want to deal with all this now. And a lot of people didn't know that. Even I didn't know that. So when people were coming back to me over and over again, like, can you please do it? Please, please, please. I'm like, we really have something here. And,
Yeah. Interesting thing about economics, not to introduce yet another boring topic into accounting, but you'd be surprised. Like it's not linear. Prices and supply and demand is not linear.
Yeah.
It's exponential.
Yeah.
So if you have a 10% mismatch between supply and demand, the price change will be 30%.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a 10% thing. It is I mean, some things have different elasticity, but when taxes are due, hell yeah, that is so exponential. Like if you got a 10% drop, yeah, there's going to be a 30% increase in price.
Hold on. Happens with inflation.
Hold on. 8191. See, 8191. That's true. Okay. That's true. But I'm saying the people that would do that to me had no excuses. It was just laziness. Like they weren't waiting on paperwork. There was nothing they were missing. They were just lazy. So that was what I was talking about earlier.
Who's your personal client that gets his stuff to you on all the time? Number one. Who was that guy again?
Okay. So the guy sitting next to me, Atham. No, well, I will say it was a special circumstance this tax season because we got to do it in person this past tax season.
That's right. I
Remember
came down
you
to
were
your
there?
southern office. Yes.
Yeah. So that was actually a nice experience because we could actually be in the same room. But yes, okay, you tend to be very well
I
organized.
just want to point that
You
out.
get it to me.
And I am the best hiker.
Calling you out. Stop paying your estimated taxes the first possible day. Make them wait.
I paid much less this year because you're right. I was overpaying because of reasons.
You and my dentist are so different in that regard.
He likes to go. He wants to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail.
He's not a fan of the Illinois Department of Revenue. Oh, that's actually a pretty good question right there.
Let's do this one. We'll call it a night because we do got to.
Yeah, I was going to say we have some things to do, so I'll answer a couple more questions, then we'll go. I didn't want to make this first one too long, so. Scottishman, Chad, what is the biggest thing you regret about being in the accounting field? Well, honestly, I'm glad I have a specialization. I have a niche, and most of them treat me well, et cetera, et cetera. I think I could have expanded into perhaps some different fields that I might have had a bit of a better fit for. I'm happy with my therapists and hairstylists. We work well, most of them. But yeah, I think I could have sort of pivoted different directions. It's not my biggest regret, but I sometimes wonder if maybe I should have been a little more proactive in terms of targeting certain industries, whereas I was more passive about it. And it just
but what industries would you have preferred?
Well, I mean, there's sports ball accountants. I think I would have been a good one. I know. There you go.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? Huh?
Yeah. Well, that's one example.
All right.
I want to work with more actors and actresses.
What, really?
No. You know what? I'm actually going to answer that for you in a future episode. That what I just answered. It's not my biggest thing. It's just sometimes I think about that. That's all.
Cool. All right. So now, how would you end a podcast?
So I'm not going to say the words to end the podcast, but I'm going to let my guests.
No, you can't end it, Toodles. That's my thing. I'm not saying.
No, I know what to say. I know what to say.
How do you wind down the podcast?
Okay. You guys, please like, share, and subscribe because right? Is that what you meant?
No, because that's what they all say. Just subscribe, like, and share. No one's going to share because no one has time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like. If they were going to like it, they would have done it already. All you got to do is say subscribe because your goal is to get 1,000 subscribers.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
So just subscribe.
Okay. Guys, please subscribe because the faster we get to 1,000, the faster he can take half of my super chats. So
that's a very important thing.
So that's all we care about. Me, Atham, that's all we care about.
And is there anything you provided in the description below, like contact emails or something? All right.
I've got my email in there. And I really like, I did get emailed some questions, but this was kind of a special circumstance.
Yeah, you're not at your main office, right?
So I will answer those questions in future shows. So please feel free to email me questions. Some of the questions here were very good. So thank you for those. And yeah, subscribe. And I'm not sure when the next one I'm going to do is, but I will be doing it soon.
It should be like you're going back home in a week, right?
Soon.
Do it next week.
You know what? I am planning on doing one
Hey,
next
okay,
week.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I won't be in Chicago when I do it next time, but I will be in a location where I can stream from. So I will be doing that.
Good.
Southern Command. All right, you guys want to take us out? One of you.
You gotta take no. I can't do toodles because that's my thing.
Well, but where are we supposed to go then?
All right, guys.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll catch y'all later, okay?
Night.